Jonathan Swift once said, "Laws are like cobwebs. They catch the small flies, but the big ones break through," which is very true and depressing, especially if you're on the receiving end. But what if you find a loophole in the cobweb that enables you to break away any time you're caught? That, right there, is the story of Jack, the man who found a way to avoid the law. But to tell his story very well, we need to start from where it all began. The story begins with Jack, a former Special Forces operative, and his pregnant wife preparing to visit his wife's brother, Joe. As they are about to leave, the sheriff pulls up beside them and tells them to think about selling their house because someone wants to buy it for a good price. Jack's wife smiles politely and says they haven't decided yet. The sheriff insists that they should take the offer, but Jack ends the talk quickly, saying they will think about it. Later, when they arrive at the brother's place, Jack seems distracted. The sheriff's words keep ringing in his mind. His brother-in-law notices and tells him to relax and stay a few more days. But Jack's wife refuses because a repairman is supposed to come fix the house, so they need to head back soon. Her sister-in-law then suggests they move into a new apartment nearby. It's spacious with 3 bedrooms and located in a friendlier area. The idea tempts her. Since they moved into their current home, she has found the town strange. The sheriff's repeated visits about selling the house only make her more suspicious. That night when they arrive, his wife suggests they take the sheriff's advice and sell the house. Jack agrees immediately because nothing matters more to him than her and their unborn child. Little did they know that their lives were about to take an unexpected turn. Can you guess what happens next? As always, pause the video and try your luck in the comments below. Jack stays outside to gather a few bags while his wife walks into the house first. Nearby, an old man living in an RV calls out to him and says, "They are coming." Jack looks at him in confusion and asks, "Who's coming?" But the man shakes his head, muttering that he wants no part in it. That's when Jack realizes that his house is under attack. He quickly races inside, but he's welcomed by a sudden blow to his head, and he falls. His wife screams as the leader, Leon, tightens a rope around her neck. Jack tries to stand, but they beat him down again. His wife tries to defend herself, and Leon shoots her dead. These are the men who wanted to buy their house. Since Jack and his wife refused to sell, they decided to take it by force. When they leave, Jack crawls to his wife, and the moment he sees her lifeless body, something inside him shatters. In a fit of fury, he chases one of the attackers outside, tackles him to the ground, and grabs his gun. The man pleads, but Jack pulls the trigger. However, when the police arrive, they arrest Jack. At the station, the sheriff accuses him of using unnecessary force. Jack argues that his wife was murdered, and he had every right to defend himself. But the sheriff coldly explains that the man Jack shot had already left the house, and the law demands that Jack should have retreated. To the state, he is not a defender, but a killer, and Jack argues why the law is so unfair. Somewhere else in town, a man named Charlie is yelling at a group of thugs. They are the same men who attacked Jack's house. Charlie never meant for things to go that far. His plan was to scare the couple into selling. But his son, Leon, got carried away and killed Jack's wife. Now Charlie has lost one of his men, and the mess is far worse than he expected. Meanwhile, the sheriff continues questioning Jack, digging into his past. Jack had joined the army at 18, fought in Afghanistan and Syria, and later joined the Special Forces. But he was discharged for disobeying orders, after he risked his team's safety to save 2 children. The sheriff reminds him that this is not a war zone, that the rules are different here. Jack says the attackers killed his wife and must pay, but the sheriff refuses to listen. At the trial, Jack's lawyer fights hard. She reminds the court that Jack moved into that house when he was 13 after his family migrated from Norway. She insists that he was only defending his home, but the judge doesn't agree. The verdict is 6 years in prison for murder. While serving his jail term, Jack begins to study the law and learns the stand your ground legislation, a legal loophole that would let him kill with impunity. 6 long years pass, and when Jack finally steps out of prison, his brother-in-law Joe is waiting for him. When they reach Jack's house, the memories hit Jack like waves. Joe tells him to call if he ever needs help. Jack nods and walks inside. Next, he visits the RV owner who once warned him. He tells Jack that the men who destroyed his life still live nearby. Leon and his friends spend most nights in a local bar. Above them all stands Charlie, the one who runs the town. Jack wastes no time. He goes straight to the bar, orders a drink, and scans the room. Soon, a few men approach him, warning him to leave. Jack smiles calmly and says he is just looking for some old friends, Leon and Derek. Their faces change instantly. Before they can react, Jack leaves quietly. Later, when one of them enters his car to leave, Jack is already waiting in the back seat. With a wire, he wraps his arm around the man's neck and tightens it. The man struggles but gives in. Jack forces him to drive to a secret location where weapons are stored and takes what he needs for what comes next. That night, he calls Leon, using the captive's phone. When Leon answers, Jack tells him that he will destroy everything he loves, one piece at a time. Then he hangs up. Outside, another man named John watches Jack's house. He works for Charlie and plans to shoot Jack the moment he steps outside. But Jack never does. Instead, he sets a trap. When Mike, the captive, tries to escape, John shoots him, not realizing he has walked right into Jack's plan. Moments later, Leon and his men arrive, ready for a fight. A gun battle breaks out, leaving 2 of Leon's men dead and Leon badly injured. John saves Leon's life just in the nick of time and helps him escape through a window. Jack watches them disappear into the darkness, his heart pounding. He could shoot, but he doesn't, because the stand your ground legislation doesn't allow it. The sheriff speeds to the scene, but this time, Jack finally has the law on his side. He fights to protect his own life and home, and for once, no one can accuse him of being the villain. Meanwhile, at the hospital, doctors work desperately to save Leon. After hours of effort, they finally manage to keep him alive, but just barely. When his father, Charlie, walks in and sees his son lying pale and broken, he makes a vow that he will never let Jack live to see peace again. Jack already expects it. He spends the night turning his small house into a fortress. He places traps along the doors, buries landmines outside, and lines the hallways with bombs. Then he calls his brother-in-law, Joe, who's also a former Special Forces soldier, and immediately Jack asks for his help. Joe agrees without a second thought. When night falls, Charlie's hired killers creep through the darkness. From his post upstairs, Jack watches their every move through the sights of his rifle. Then, with calm precision, he pulls the trigger. The first man falls, then another and another. John, the mercenary leader, shouts at his men to stop firing. He reminds them that the boss wants Jack alive, and they must not kill him. Their hesitation costs them dearly. When they finally break through the wooden door, a grenade tied to the handle explodes. Outside, chaos erupts. One man steps on a landmine. Another triggers a wire trap. Everywhere they move, the house bites back. Jack uses every weapon he has learned to use in war, and his enemies fall like pieces on a chessboard. John grows nervous and sends men to search room by room, but Jack has vanished. Then, when they least expect it, Jack presses a hidden button, and a new wave of explosions shakes the ground. Taking advantage of the confusion, he bursts out from the shadows, shooting with deadly precision. But the attackers regroup and pour heavy fire toward him. Jack retreats upstairs, blood spilling down his leg from a bullet wound, but he refuses to stop. He hides behind a wall and quickly treats his wound. Elsewhere, the sheriff and his deputy prepare to move in. Beside him, a young female officer named Lily asks what is really going on. But the sheriff snaps and tells her to ask her father instead. What she doesn't yet know is that her father, Charlie, is the man leading the army of killers against Jack. When the sheriff and his deputy arrive at the scene, they find the RV owner lying near the entrance. The old man had shot 2 attackers before being hit himself. The deputy kills the man who shot him and helps the old man to safety, while the sheriff pushes forward toward the house alone. Meanwhile, Jack reloads his weapon and pushes forward again. This time, he's face to face with John. The fight turns brutal, and after a while, John tries to taunt him with words, hoping to break his spirit, but Jack doesn't respond. Neither can see clearly, and both wait for the other to make a move. When the sheriff finally steps inside, he shouts Jack's name, searching for any sign of him. Suddenly, John hears the sheriff's voice and gets an idea. He slips quietly into the next room, opening the door just enough to distract Jack. As Jack turns toward the noise, John attacks, and the 2 men crash into each other. They fight fiercely until John grabs a hidden gun from under the bed and points it at Jack. With no choice left, Jack raises his hands in surrender. But as John drags him toward the door, the sheriff bursts out from behind a wall and forces John to drop his weapon. John smirks and threatens to reveal the sheriff's darkest secrets, then suddenly lunges to attack. Jack moves first, and in the chaos, John pulls out a grenade. The sheriff reacts instantly, firing 1 clean shot. John falls backward, and the grenade explodes, ending his life in a flash of fire. Jack then helps the sheriff treat his wound. Just as they prepare to leave, the deputy runs in with bad news. Lily has called, saying that Charlie is on his way with another wave of armed men. The sheriff tells Jack to come with them, but Jack refuses. He says he will finish this tonight, and he will do it on the right side of the law and on his own grounds. A few minutes later, Joe finally arrives with heavy weapons. The sheriff decides to stay and fight beside them. Soon, Charlie's men march forward. These men are more trained and better equipped than the ones before. The sheriff shouts for Charlie to stop, but Charlie only answers with bullets. Jack opens fire from the 2nd floor, cutting down several attackers. Joe takes over the machine gun and holds the line while Jack throws smoke grenades down the stairs and charges into the fog with a dagger. The smoke turns the house into a ghostly maze, and one by one, Jack takes out the intruders. But the fight is just getting started. The sheriff gets wounded, and Jack tells Joe to take him out to safety while he covers them. Under the veil of smoke, Joe escapes with the sheriff, leaving Jack alone inside the shattered house. Moments later, Charlie himself appears outside, with a mounted machine gun. He opens fire, tearing through walls and windows. Jack dives into a bathtub for cover as bullets rain down. When the shooting stops, Charlie sends his men inside to finish the job. But Jack has one last card to play. Lying in the bathtub, he triggers the C4 hidden in the walls. The explosion rips through the night. The house disappears in a flash of fire, and even Charlie is thrown far back by the blast. By morning, Charlie crawls from the wreckage, burned but alive. He finds Lily waiting for him. She tells him that she knows everything now, that the sheriff told her the truth. She asks how many people must die before he stops, but Charlie shows no guilt. Lily turns away, ready to leave town with her brother. When she gets home, she finds her brother's body dead on the floor. Jack, barely alive, stands nearby. He has no fight left in him. Before Lily can speak, Charlie sneaks in behind Jack and strikes him down. As he raises his weapon again, Lily picks up a gun and points it at her father. With tears in her eyes, she pulls the trigger. When it's all over, Jack dies from his wounds. The old RV owner survives and becomes a police officer, while Lily quits her job and travels north to find her mother. Do you think the law enabled justice or legalized murder? Where do you think the line between self-defense and premeditated revenge should be drawn? Share your thoughts in the comments below. For more interesting recaps like this, check out other videos on our channel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.